Happy Sunday morning, everybody. It is Miss Felicia here, and I am so excited to be joining you on another day to lead another awesome lesson with you guys. So, at least today, while I'm filming this, the weather is beautiful and super sunny and just feels so nice. So I thought that we would do today's lesson outside. So you know what? You might hear a little traffic, you might hear a car or two go by, but I bet you guys can stay focused and we can still do our lesson out here because I think it's just such a beautiful day and I wanted to enjoy it with you guys. So, like I said, happy Sunday. I am so excited to be back with you guys to lead another Sunday school lesson. We are continuing to learn about the Sermon on the Mount and about that funny word, the Beatitudes, and what were the Beatitudes, and we're learning all about that really special talk that Jesus gave. So, like every other Sunday, I would think it is a great idea for us to start out by just kind of stretching and moving around a little bit. If you're watching this on Sunday morning, you might still be a little stiff. And guys, it's time to wake up because we got some things to talk about. So I invite you guys to stretch like you're gonna touch the ceiling. And then I invite you guys to go down and try to touch your tippy toes. I'm back. And then while we are stretching, while we are moving our bodies, I want us to think of this week's welcome question. So this week's welcome question is, have you ever run out of something that was important to you, and what did you do about it? So this is the time in the video where you can pause and you can talk about that question with your family or with anybody in the room with you, or you can keep watching and you can just think about that question with me while we are still stretching and just moving our bodies and getting our wiggles out. So have I ever run out of something important to me, and what did I do about it? Yeah, I run out of stuff all the time, if I'm being honest, because I'm not the best at remembering to pick stuff up at the grocery store. So yeah, I run out of important things all the time. Earlier this year, a lot of us were running out of toilet paper almost, and that was getting scary. Did some of you run out of toilet paper? What did you do? Because we were all getting desperate for a minute there. So sometimes we run out of things that feel pretty important. So I'm just wondering, what's something you guys have run out of before? And then how did you deal with it? I'm thinking, have you ever run out of your favorite snack? How did you handle that? Probably didn't feel super great. Have you ever run out of time? Have you ever been in a hurry and you just don't have enough time to do all the fun things that you want to do? So we are thinking today, what's something that we've run out of and how did that make us feel? So once we are done kind of thinking about that, we are going to do the next part of our Sunday lesson, and the next part of our Sunday lesson is, I was going to see if any of you were going to guess, and hopefully you know what comes next. So what comes next is we have got to climb the mountain. We have got to use our imaginations, and we have got to climb the mountain to hear what Jesus has to say to us today, because he is going to continue his sermon on the mountain today, and he has some really important stuff that he wants us to hear. So there are 4 different ways that we are going to use our imaginations, and we are going to pretend to climb a mountain. So we have done these 4 ways every week. They haven't changed. So what's the first way you can climb a mountain? You can be pretty chill about it, right? And you can just hike, you can march in place. That's one way we can climb a mountain. What's another way we can climb a mountain? The second way we've talked about climbing a mountain, some of our friends use wheelchairs, right? And they have to roll up the mountain. So you can pretend that you are rolling your wheels as fast as you can. What's the third way that we've talked about climbing a mountain? The third way we have talked about climbing a mountain is using ropes. Some people, they throw their ropes and you gotta get everything hooked up just right. I'm not gonna lie, I've never really been rope climbing, so I'm not exactly sure how it works, but from what I've seen in pictures, you have to get the hooks just right, and then you just pull yourself up. So we can do this in our imaginations and pretend we are rope climbing a mountain. And what is the last way we can climb a mountain? I wonder if you guys remember. I'm gonna tell you. So the last way that you can climb a mountain, right, is you can pretend like you are super fierce and you're gonna go rock climbing. So rock climbing, you gotta get the whole body involved. You gotta use your legs and your arms, and you gotta climb those rocks. So guys, I want you to pick one of those 4 ways that we just talked about climbing a mountain. Or you know what, if you know another really cool, crazy way to climb a mountain, go ahead and do that. But we are going to do the same thing. I am going to count to 20. You are going to pick your favorite way to imagine climbing a mountain, and we are going to climb that mountain together in our imaginations so we can get to the top and hear the next part of the Sermon on the Mountain, okay? So, pick your favorite way. I'm gonna count to 20. I think today, I'm just feeling like a leisurely hike. So I am just going to count to 20. And we are going to get to the top of that mountain together. Okay, are you guys ready? On your mark, get set, let's climb. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whew. You guys did it. Y'all are rock stars. We are on the top of the mountain, so let's use our imaginations. Let's look around, think of all the cool things you can see from the top of a mountain. Probably see maybe like some sheep hanging out over there. There were like a lot of sheep in Jesus' time. Maybe some sheep over there. You could probably see the tops of people's houses. You could maybe see the ocean. You can see so much from the top of a mountain. So let's imagine that, and let's start to settle our bodies and take a seat on the ground for the next part of our lesson. Okay guys, so now hopefully you have found a seat on the floor, in a chair, a comfy, cozy seat somewhere, and we are settling our bodies, and now is the part where I need you guys to put on your very best listening ears for today's lesson, because as always, Jesus has got some pretty cool stuff to talk about and some pretty cool stuff for us to learn today. So remember that we are currently using our imaginations and we are pretending that we are sitting on the top of a mountain. Jesus is in front of us. We're hanging out with all of his followers and our friends, and we are getting ready to hear what he has to say. So remember that in Jesus' time, people believed that mountains were really holy and special places where you could be with God. Maybe they thought that because they were closer to the sky and they felt like that made them feel closer to God. We're not exactly sure why they felt that way, but we just know that mountains were considered very sacred and holy places, so it's important to know that Jesus chose a mountain to talk to people about some of this stuff. So Jesus brought these people to the mountain and he told them all about God's kingdom on this mountain. So you can think, remember, of a kingdom as the way the world works, or the way that the world is set up, or how it runs. So in God's kingdom, which is heaven, remember how the first week we talked about there is abundance. And abundance, I say it like that because it is a really cool and exciting word. So to know that there is an abundance in God's kingdom means that we know that there is more than enough honor, more than enough food, money, love, power, every resource that you could possibly think of for every child of God to thrive. So today we are going to talk about Matthew 5:6, which is the next Beatitudes that Jesus talked about in his Sermon on the Mountain. So Matthew 5:6 says, Jesus says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." So guys, I'm wondering, how does it feel to be really, really hungry, or to be really, really thirsty? I know when I'm hungry, my stomach's all churny, I don't feel great. I know when I'm thirsty, right? Your throat gets kind of dry, your mouth just feels like not great. You know, you're thirsty, you're uncomfortable, you know that there's something you need. So that's kind of how we feel hunger, or we feel thirst. So I'm wondering if you guys can use your minds and think really hard about this next question. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt hungry or thirsty for something other than food? So I know that's a very deep question. I'll explain it a little bit more. We'll expand upon this. So I sometimes think of hunger not just as being hungry for food, but you can kind of think of hunger as an ache, right? It's something that keeps getting stronger and stronger if you don't do anything about it, right? So I can't ignore or forget when I'm hungry. Your body won't let you, right? Your stomach will keep reminding you, and your body will let you know it's not feeling good. Your body won't let you forget or ignore that you're hungry. Sometimes it can become the only thing you think about. I know sometimes I am so hungry, I'll go all day without eating, which is not a great idea, but sometimes I'm irresponsible and I do that. And once it hits the end of the day, guys, all I can think about is how hungry I am and how much I wish I had at least eaten a snack, and it just becomes all that I think about, and it consumes my every thought. So I'm wondering if you guys have ever felt that hungry. Many of the people that Jesus was spending time with were very hungry. So some of them may not have had enough food or water, so they were actually hungry and thirsty for physical resources. But some of them, their stomachs were not the only parts of their bodies that were hungry. So when I say that, I mean that some people's hearts were really hungry for, this is this week's big vocabulary word, some people were really hungry for righteousness. So you guys can think of righteousness as a really big vocabulary word that essentially just means justice or getting equality. So righteousness means justice, basically. So this was how Jesus wanted the world to be. He wanted it to be a place where people lived good lives, not just for their own sake, but for everyone else's sake too. Jesus teaches the people how God's justice means that we make sure everybody has what they need. There are right and healthy relationships between people and all living things. So there were a lot of ways that things were not right for the people listening to Jesus. There were a lot of ways that life wasn't treating them super fairly. So in that time, like we've talked about, some people in Jesus's time had a lot of money and a lot of power. And they used to use that money and power they had, here's another bigger word, they used to use the money and power they had to dominate other people. So that means that they were making some people feel like they were poor and powerless and didn't have anywhere to go. So Jesus spoke here to the people who felt an ache for a better world. Some people in Jesus's time, they were losing their hope, and they were hungry for justice. They were hungry to experience a better world, God's kind of world, the way that God wants the world to be. And Jesus knew that their hearts were hungering more and more for relationships and systems to be fair and to be equal and to be right. So just like how we need food in order to live, guys, we also need other things in order to live. We need love, and we need hope, and we need healthy connections with other people. Jesus understands and completely cares about all of those needs that we feel. And part of feeling hungry for something means we have to work for it, right? So it means doing what we can to make what we hunger for come true. So like if I'm feeling really hungry, if food is all I can think about, then I should probably go eat, right? And meet that need. So Jesus was reminding us that sometimes we have to work for the things that we hunger for. We have to meet those needs in our own ways. So sometimes, I know that is easier said than done. It can take a lot of patience and focus and hard work. Sometimes the things we hunger for, like justice or equality, they don't come easily and they don't come super fast. So I am wondering, are there some things that you feel like you might be hungry for, like the people in Jesus's time were hungry? What if we pretend that the thing you are so hungry for, let's pretend think of one thing that you are hungry for. So it could be something physical. It could be early in the morning and you haven't eaten breakfast yet. You could be hungry for food. You could be thinking that you're really hungry for justice. You could be thinking that you're really hungry for equality. Maybe you're hungry for some love. Maybe you're hungry to feel a little extra hope. So I'm wondering if you can think of something that you might be hungry for. And then I want you to pretend that that thing that you're picturing, that thing that you are hungry for, is on the other side of the room from you right now. But to reach it, you have to push a really, really heavy stone, okay? So I am going to pretend I am hungry for hope. I feel like we could all use a little extra hope in the world right now. So I am super hungry for hope. I am ready for Jesus to bring me a little extra hope. So I am going to pretend that that hope is on the other side of the room from me, and the only thing standing between me and experiencing this hope is a really big rock, all right? So I want you to imagine that thing on the other side of the rock, and I want you to use your arms. I want you to stretch them out in front of you, and I want you to push that rock. I want you to push it so hard. We're pushing that rock. Come on, push that rock with me, you guys. We're pushing. And I bet you push the rock, because look at how strong your arms are. I want us to imagine that we are feeling our hunger for the right thing, and we are pushing that stone to reach it. So when we are going 1, 2, 3, push, we made it a little bit closer, but we're not quite there yet. So 1, 2, 3, push it again, and we're a little bit closer. Maybe we can kind of think about every day like this. So when we are feeling hungry for the world to be a better place, or we're feeling hungry for the world to be a healthier place than what it is, we can stretch our arms out and let that be a physical, powerful reminder that we are part of bringing God's kingdom to earth. And with every faithful push we make, we get a little bit closer to seeing heaven on earth. It's not an easy job. I'm not saying it is. But guys, one of our jobs as believers of Jesus and believers of God is to do our best to try to make a little bit of heaven on earth possible. And so we have to push hard and work for those things some days. And the fight isn't always easy. Like I said, there are people all over the world hungering for so many things, like literal and physical needs. But there are people hungering for emotional and societal and justice reasons and all kinds of things. And so it's our jobs to love people hard, and to push those stones, to push those things in the way to try to get the kingdom of heaven a little bit closer to being here on earth for other people to experience. So, like how we end every lesson, I would love to give you guys a blessing for being super good listeners. I know today's lesson was a little bit longer and had some big words in it, but I believe in you guys. And as always, if you have any questions about anything we talked about or any of the words that I mentioned, your parents know how to get in contact with me, and I would love to talk to you about any of this. But the next thing we are going to do is I would like to bless you. So remember, how we do the blessing is you take your hands and you put them out in front of you like this, like you are going to receive a gift. Put out your hands like this, and I am going to speak a blessing to you. So today's blessing is that God blesses you to live for justice in your home and in your community. So I want you to remember that God blesses you to live for justice in your home and in your community. And I want you to take that blessing, I want you to put it in your hands, and I want you to put it over your heart, because that is truth and it belongs in your heart where it should be. So, now that we've come to the end of today's lesson, I invite you guys to do the family pages that got sent out today. Like, they get sent out every Sunday. It has some coloring pages that go along with today's lesson, and it has a few questions that also just kind of help y'all just follow up with some of the things we've talked about and some ways that you can discuss what we have talked about with your family. So this week's reflection questions are, there's only 3 this week. The first one is, how does it feel to be really, really hungry or thirsty? The second question is, have you ever felt hungry for something other than food? Remember, that was that really super deep question that I had to ask you guys earlier, so maybe bring it back up and see if you can think. Have you ever felt hungry for something besides food? Have you ever hungered for justice or equality or more love? Those kinds of things. And then the third question is there an issue of justice that you are hungry to see it made right? So that could be, do you wish that more people that were physically hungry for food had food? Do you wish that we could make that right? Do you wish that we could make homelessness right? Do you wish that everybody had a roof over their head? What is something in this world that you crave justice for? I want you guys to kind of start to think about that. Again, I know these are some deeper questions. Some of these weeks we are going to dive in pretty deep to some of these lessons, but I believe in you guys, and I believe that these are conversations that y'all are ready to start having. So one last note that I also wanted to give today is, while we are starting to think of ways that we can bring God's kingdom closer to earth, remember one of those things that we've talked about is abundance. And today we talked about people that are hungry and thirst. And yes, we talked about how people can be hungry and thirsty for emotional things, but like we said, people can also be literally hungry for physical resources and physical needs as well. So that is why I think it would be cool for some of our families to consider helping out with our St. Francis food drive. You can find out more on our website and in the email express. We are doing a contactless food drive. It is coming up in the next few weeks. We are going to help out some food banks, and that is one way that your family can kind of start thinking, what are things that we crave justice for? And like I said, how can we meet those things that we crave justice for and show people a little bit of God's heaven on earth? So maybe you and your family could consider going shopping for some of the foods that we have listed, and you guys could come to the contactless food drive and help meet some needs that are physical, but I bet those people will also feel very loved and have a little extra hope too. So you are helping them feel those emotional justices that we talked about too. So that is just an idea for your family to think about, one way to get involved and to start putting some of these things that we are talking about into action. That's always exciting. So just something for you to think about. Like I said, check our email express, our family newsletter, or our website for more information on that, or our social media. It will be up on there too soon. So all of that to say that I am so thankful that you guys spent another Sunday with me having our Sunday school lesson. I miss you guys. I love you guys so, so much, and I can't wait to hopefully see some of you soon. Like I said, if any of you ever need anything, if you just want to talk, if you just want to say, Miss Felicia, what's up? Your parents have my phone number and my email. Always feel free to contact me because I miss you guys, so I would love to hear from you. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Like I said, contact me if you have any questions about some of those big words and bigger concepts that we talked about today. And I hope you all have great weeks. You make good choices and you behave for your families because they need you to do that. So I love you guys. I miss you. I will see you soon. Have a great week.